And
Yeah, so we are in the Super Conference, a pretty tough, I would say a pretty tough conference in the state of Iowa. So competing, I mean, it's really hard to compete in our conference. We have a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams. You know, our record right now isn't maybe what we want, but we're just really looking at, we're a much better team than last year, and that's what we're really focusing on. I'd like to get maybe a couple more wins than we did last year. We had 3 last year, so just a couple more. But honestly, I'm just really focusing on how can we be better than last year despite what our record may show.
And Jordan, I know your assistant coach, and she told me to ask you. She said she really feels like your defense is really good. So
yeah, it's been a long time since Pekin has been good defensively, and I think that's where we are really solid right now. We really have to focus on executing the ball and being great at both. But defensively, we have a lot of good girls, and our libero, she does a lot for us. I'm really proud of her each and every night. So yeah, defensively we're pretty solid. We just have to work on that offense.
And Jordan, I'm going to be honest with you here. I don't know much about terminology for volleyball. Can you just kind of fill in, like, what does the libero do?
Yeah, so our libero is Alex Parsons. She wears the different colored jersey than everyone else. She is out there all the time, so your libero is generally your best passer on your team. So she goes in for our middles, and she's out there all the time getting every ball that she possibly can. So when you see a girl with a different colored jersey, that's her.
So does that mean they can, like, move around different spots because of that jersey, or, like,
just in the back row.
Okay, so just in the back row.
Yep.
Okay, and you know, with the aces, the digs, I mean, just speak about some of your girls that kind of stand out in the varsity level. Some of your better, top players. Maybe you want to mention all of them, all your starters or varsity girls, or so you don't leave anybody out too. So
yeah. The first one that comes to mind is Maya Bainbridge. She's our setter, a junior this year. She actually did not play last year, and you would not be able to tell if you came to one of our games. She is somebody that I don't have to question if she's going to go out and give 150% every single night. She's flying all over the floor, trying to get to everything she can, and she's just a team player. Casey Miller and Caitlin Schultz are my outsides. Casey has a lot of varsity experience, and she's somebody that I kind of look to be a leader on the court. We're getting better at it. And Caitlin is a sophomore and somebody who has not really seen varsity minutes before. That's kind of how our team goes right now. We have 2 girls that have really seen varsity time, and the rest, this is kind of all new to them, so we're still working on that. Krista Sheets and Ava Gillum are my middles. Krista's a senior, Ava is a junior, and they both this is their first time playing varsity. Ava's doing really well for us, so is Krista, but Ava really stood out to me Thursday night. She's just somebody that tries, works really hard, very coachable. Alex Parsons is my libero. Great kid, always going to do what I ask her to do, willing to try anything for me. Peyton Coleman is a sophomore. She's a DS, so that's a defensive specialist. She really focuses on passing. Another good girl that's always going to give it 150% for me. Wow, now that I'm listing them all, I'm hoping I don't forget anyone.
Because you know they're watching.
I know. Kaylee Adrian's our right side. And, Alicia Brock, she's another DS for us, another senior who has seen a little bit of varsity time, but another girl that really just goes out and gives it her all every night.
Excellent. Why don't you tell us who's on your coaching staff that helps you out?
Jody,
I know you got one in there that
I do. Jody Sellers is my assistant coach this year, and it's been really great having her. I feel like our personalities are so different, so she balances me out very well. She's kind of like the peppy cheerleader for our team, and that's really not me. So I think the girls really like having somebody like that. I feel like a lot of the times, maybe if I'm not thinking it, she's thinking it and getting ready to say it, and I feel like we have both just learned so much from my mom, and so our volleyball mentality is the same, and so that really helps when it comes to game time and planning practices and things like that.
Very good. And what's your upcoming schedule here look like for next week, Jordan?
So we go to Hillcrest on Tuesday, and Lone Tree comes to us on Thursday, so I'm hoping this week we can get over that hump and get a win.
Okay, very good, very good. Usually my wife has the schedule on the wall of where everybody's at, but I hadn't seen next week. So, no, very good. Jordan, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it. I mean, myself, I learned a little bit about volleyball there. And, hey, good luck next week. And hopefully we're, again, talking about some wins.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jordan, for coming on.
And guys, while we're in transition here once again, do want to apologize. I know our feed is kind of cutting in and out a little bit, it looks like, this morning. I believe I am recording it, so we will play the whole thing back later on. But thank you for sticking with us this morning. And we'll get Coach Jensen in here next for Sigourney Keota. Bruce and Allen, take it away.
All right, our final guest coach of the day here is obviously our SK football coach, Coach Jensen. Welcome, Coach. Big win.
Welcome, Coach.
This is a lot better today than it was last week. And I know, I mean, just a couple brutal, tough games. And I guess just myself, I felt last night the score did not reflect the game. I thought it was just a bloodbath. I mean, there was hard knocks left and right, both teams last night.
There was definitely some hitting going on last night. Our defense looked phenomenal last night.
Yeah, I think they took the loss last week, took it personal, and we talked about, PCM played nasty, and we didn't live up to that challenge, and that was kind of the talk all week. Play nasty. Like, don't be dirty, but play nasty. You got to play with a chip on your shoulder and put some fear into the other team, and I think – there was some big hits. I mean, we were flying around, 3, 4, 5 guys, making each tackle, and our guys stepped up to the challenge, and that's all we can ask. You can go a lot of different ways. You can go 2 different ways after that first loss: tank or use it as a building tool. And I think our guys definitely learn and use it as a building tool. Take that next step forward. Forget about what happened. Okay, you know where you're at. What do we got to do to get better, and take those steps forward.
Some guys that kind of stood out to you last night. I know there was a couple guys that stood out to me, and I mean, I was one kid that I really want to say something about is Jake Moore. I was glad to see him get in on offense a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's great. Jake's a hard runner. He's fast. He's a good kid. I mean, I know it's hard to take him off of defense, but just a couple guys stood out last night.
Yeah, and we kind of talked leading into that week 1. Hey, he gives us a different element than Sawyer gives us.
Yep.
And we knew we needed to kind of run our direct snap lead stuff and playing a linebacker position on defense. He's going to go hit somebody. He's used to hitting and just finding that guy and going after him. And we just, hey, we need something to happen here. Let's put him in, let him lead, just snap to the tailback, and let's roll. And he did a good job of leading that group down the field. And nothing against Sawyer, but at the time we needed a spark, and adding that extra body to where we're running. Which Sawyer's able to do the same thing, but it just doesn't have the force coming to it like Jake does, and it kind of showed. We put that drive together. Cale Clarahan had a good run there, 44-yard